Welcome to the Survival Theory Thanksgiving Special. Out here in the Everglades, the southern portion of it. I'm in some kind of slough. I've been hiking a couple miles in it. I've got pine to my north, pine to my south. I know there's some dry land to the south. I'm going to see if there's any dry land in this northern section of pine that I see up there. It's a beautiful day. It's 80-something degrees. It's windy. The biggest danger so far has been the solution holes that are in the ground. Really got to watch out for those. You don't want to sink into one of those, sprain your ankle or something like that. So, let's head north. See if we can find some dry land and mess around in the Everglades. As I get closer to this pine, it gets shallower and shallower. I'm actually coming across some thorny plants. Water's maybe a couple inches deep at the most. Might be able to hit some dry land in there. Lots of limestone to walk on. Looks pretty thick. It looks very thick. The hurricane made a mess of this area. So I'm hiking along and I come across this fallen pine on the edge of the thicker area here. And I'm thinking I could cut that log into a few pieces, make a raised bed shelter, set it up somewhere right in there in the thicket where I could stay concealed from the open area. Put up a tarp or the rain poncho between two trees. And there's plenty of areas of limestone that protrude above the water, such as this one. I could put a fire on that, keep my fire out of the water. Make a raised platform bed. And I always carry my mosquito netting, so I could actually make a pretty decent shelter out here. Wonder if I could build a fire out here in the Everglades using some of these raw materials. It's been raining a lot, but I think some of this dead material might catch. See what I can gather. Never underestimate the need for gloves. This sawgrass here, I went the wrong way on it against my hand. Kind of sliced across my fingers a little bit. Danger in the Everglades. So I found the location right here, right next to my tree there. This is a rock protruding above the water. It's surrounded by water. I've got tinder source nearby, kindling. Let's see if I can get something going right here safely. Now I was looking around for some palmetto for a fireboard. I found this piece of wood. I'm not even sure what kind it is. And I found a relatively straight piece on one of the limbs, so I think I'll try this wood and see if I can get a friction fire going. Well, I'm not very impressed by my bow, but I think it'll work. It's harder than it looks, keeping everything dry. See if we can get something started here. Alright, so I got a piece of palmetto. I had a bigger piece, but of course I dropped it in the water. Try my luck with this. So I've decided to pretty much start over. New spindle. Spindle's out of palmetto, and I got a little piece of palmetto for the base. See if we can have a little more luck with that. That's just too hard. Well, I tried the bow drill fire. Didn't work out too good. So I saved those pieces. I'm going to try them later when they're drier. See if that was the problem or if it was just me. But I took out my ferro rod and used a piece of char cloth, a rather large piece, and got that sparked up and real hot. And I put it against some of that material and blew on it. It would, turn red, start to coal up, and then just die out. I think it's just too wet. It's hard to get a fire going out here without a lighter or a ferro rod. It's been raining for days. Maybe I could have gotten one going if I were more serious about it. Spent more time looking for some good material. But with what I tried, unsuccessful. So let's keep on exploring. Surprisingly, a lot of fish in these waters. A lot of minnows. Well, I've pulled out of the sawgrass area, the big marsh, and I've hit this canopy of pine. It's for the most part solid ground, and I'm on a trail. I think this loops around and goes next to a lake. I think it's about a mile till I hit the lake, so let's go check that out. Now, there's quite a bit more people out here today on the roads in the Everglades than I saw last time I was here. That's a good thing. And something I become guilty of occasionally is seeing these people wearing nice shoes and expensive clothes and coming out here to the park. And I'm thinking, you're not out here to enjoy the park. You're just driving around. But you know what? At least they're out here. They could have went to an amusement park. They could have stayed home and watched TV. But they didn't. They chose to come out here and check out the Everglades and pay a hefty admission fee for it. So that's a good thing. I wish more people would come out here. You don't have to come out here and try to start a friction fire or wade around in the water knee deep. Even if you just go to a picnic table and enjoy the scenery, that's a good thing. starting to get late. I headed back to the sawgrass marsh fields just because it's neat out here. It's a beautiful day. I thought it was going to rain because it's been raining for days. So there's not much light left. So I'm going to work my way back to the vehicle. I'll go somewhere civilized for the night and come back out here tomorrow. Well, I'm back in the Everglades, day 2. I decided not to take the one of the designated trails and then get off of that trail. I just started hitting the woods right off the road. I'm in a pine hammock right now. It's pretty rough going. I'm basically walking on jagged limestone, and there's solution holes everywhere. So I really have to watch where I'm going. I'm hoping to come across some rattlesnakes, diamondback or pygmy, something interesting, but we'll see. I'm going to head north. I believe I'll hit the sawgrass fields to the north. So as I get closer to the sawgrass field, there's more and more water. I'm more or less hopping from rock to rock. I know I'll get wet later, but for some reason I'm trying to stay dry. Maybe it's like a challenge. How long can I stay dry? Hopping from rock to rock. No snakes yet, so. Alright, now remembering my failure from yesterday, I think I want to try to do the bow fire again. Here's a sapling that's dead. I'm going to see if it's dry enough on the inside. I'm going to make my fireboard out of it, the drill out of it. See if we can get some results today. I cut down that pine. See if I could get a fire going. This pine is soaking wet. Bark is wet. And as thin as it is, and as wet as it is on the outside, the middle's not going to be very dry. So, fail number 2. Let's move on. I just saw a woodpecker so huge, I thought it was a bear with the red bandana. I mean, it was huge. Red-headed woodpecker. I've crossed the fields, headed north. At this point, it would be hard to get lost unless I went further north into the thicket, because I kind of know where I am. So I'm getting thirsty. I'm going to pull out the life straw and find a good pool of water to get a drink from. So I was walking around and I found a dead pine. I was messing with that, seeing how easy the wood would light with my lighter, and it was too wet. I decided to give it another go with the bow drill. I found a small piece of, oh, I must have dropped that in the water a little bit too on this end. Oh well. Small piece of palmetto. I found a stick, more of that hardwood that I used yesterday. And actually I dropped it in the water after I cut it, so I had to switch the ends. I had to dull up the sharp point and sharpen up the dull end because I had dropped it in the water. And I used a piece of that pine, and then of course a little piece of pine for a bow. So I tried it out real quick. I started getting a lot of heat, so I'm going to give it a shot. Can't find big ones, just not out here. So I did find a new drill candidate, so I can kind of carve away at that, get a point on it. Alright, let's see how much heat we can generate. Water. So need to switch sides, see if that works. Well, I failed again at making a bow drill fire. I dropped that spindle in the water. I switched ends. Then I dropped it in the water again. Unsuccessful. But I did save the bow and the drill, just in case it dries out a little bit. Maybe later I might try it again. But then my backpack leaned over and fell into the water, so it got that spindle wet. So it's hard to stay dry in the Everglades. Apparently it's hard to start a fire too. Now I do have the lighter and the ferro rod and all those things, but the objective was just, try to get an ember from a bow, but nothing so far. Let's keep going. I could have brought some dry material from the garage. Came out here and, did it successfully. I know there's a lot of channels that do that. They bring materials from their garage. They go out into the woods a little bit and start a fire that way. But if you're going to bring materials from your garage, why don't you just demonstrate it in your garage? Get a little more realistic. Hey, it's tough out here. Fatwood, very hard to find, even though I'm in pine. These trees have no limbs, until 20 feet up. So I did find some sap yesterday on a down tree, but of course I can't cut any of the live trees here. This is slash pine in the Everglades. Pine's been severely reduced in number, so I don't want to do anything to damage or injure a live tree. Now, I just walked by a palmetto, found some dry pieces, and they're not very big, but this is some of the bigger stuff that I found out here, so I'm going to hold on to that. Who knows, there might be an attempt number 3. So here I am back in the parking lot. Spindle I used yesterday, I let that dry out, didn't work. The spindle I made today and got wet actually started charring the material. So go figure. I want to see if I can get an ember collected on this bark. Here we go. That I burned through it.
What's he doing?
He's trying to start a fire.
So how's he rolling that?
Well, that's what he's doing.
Well, thank you for watching Survival Theory. 3 unsuccessful attempts at the bow drill fire using the materials in the Everglades out there in the marsh area. It's pretty wet conditions. I kept dropping material into the water. My backpack fell into the water. The closest I came to getting a fire going was bringing those materials to the parking lot, and maybe they were a little bit drier. I was able to get some smoke, but I burned through the palmetto fireboard before I could get any embers. So maybe next time. Please share, like, subscribe. Catch you next time. And hopefully next time, we'll get a fire going. Thanks for watching Survival Theory. Failing at the bow fire drill.